Welcome to the Joey Show. It's Joey Avery. We have a great guest for you today.
Thank God I have a podcast.
Emil Wakim, hilarious comedian, has some really great sets out for free on YouTube, which I will link in the description of this. And we have a really fun conversation. We talk about him coming up through Indiana, how that shaped his comedy. We talk a little bit about comedy. We talk a lot about the current state of the political environment. We dive in a little bit to his family history, his dad coming over from Lebanon. Really great interview. Not going to spoil any more of it. Go ahead and check that out. At the end, we also have a little fun. I have a basketball hoop, not exactly a court, more of a classic hoop on the wall thing. We played a little horse. So I tried to grab some of the more interesting parts of that 20-minute horse session, whittle it down, and package that as kind of a fun little addition to the interview. But a great interview with Emil Wakim. Let's get right into it.
Yeah, that would have been great.
See,
then it's
I
just
wasn't recording.
It's just camera audio.
That would have been horrible. But see, so like I'll always, when I'm doing this, I'll like, there will be a few moments you'll notice where you're talking and I'm like,
Yes.
looking for red lights because
Totally.
I need everything to be cool. But I just wanted to do it myself because one, it's less pressure. Like I kind of just wanted to like figure this thing out. And two, there is something I feel like, I don't know, I feel like there's something about one person just figuring it all out in their apartment, and I'm going to be adding in, I add in like sketches and I do like weird other things. And like, either it'll work or it'll be stupid and I'll have wasted a lot of time.
This is your variety show.
It is. It basically, that's basically the premise is like a multimedia comedy show in a one-bedroom apartment.
I love that.
I don't think I'm getting as much
Eric Andre-esque.
Yeah, except, again, with no help. So, like, for me, I'm doing it all myself, but I don't think I'm getting a ton of extra credit from people for, like, spending an hour and a half setting the lighting.
Yeah, people are just going to be like, this looks like shit.
I know. I'm doing my fucking best.
Yeah, this podcast sucks. That cutaway was lame. That was so dumb.
I know.
It's a sketch you're filming with yourself in a tripod.
And there's no one else to blame. I can't be like, I got to get new production.
Just
it's
make
like,
up a fake, like, intern that you have. Just
that is, it's Rodney.
Cut that. Cut it.
Cut that, dude.
Sorry for that racist remark that stayed in. Rodney forgot to cut it.
Yeah, so I'll do a huge intro and shit, so I don't have to tell people who you are. They'll know by the time you're here.
We're rolling.
We're rolling. We roll, dude. Straight to it. I mean, you know what? I'll hand it to my editor, also me, and we'll figure out what
we'll be able to kind of make a good start for this.
Yeah. So, Emil Wakim, hilarious comedian. Thank you for doing the podcast. When did you move to New York?
I moved to New York 2 years ago. I think 2 or 3.
Okay, and you came from
Bloomington, Indiana.
Yeah,
I was doing comedy there. COVID hit, and then I stayed there for like another 8 months or maybe like a year, and then I moved here. I'm from Chicago originally, but I started comedy there. I was going to school there.
I see. Is that the Hoosiers?
That's the Hoosiers.
Okay. Are you a big Hoosiers fan? Do you resonate with that? Or
not really. There was a year or two in college when I was like, I'm that guy. I'm going to be a sport guy.
Yeah.
And then I found comedy and I was like, all right, this is.
So once you found comedy, you were like, I'm done with sports?
Dude, yeah. I used to be like I used to like love basketball, like an embarrassing amount. Like, I thought I was, like, going to play college basketball and, like, just way too late in life.
Right.
And then,
wait, when did you become a fan and then also think you were going to play?
Of basketball?
Yeah.
I played tennis growing up, like, when I was younger. My sisters played tennis. We were a tennis family.
Mm-hmm. And that's cool.
Yeah, friends didn't love that.
Not great.
Got bullied a lot for that.
Do you think it's cool now?
Yeah, now it's
I feel like everything that I feel like TikTok made everything that wasn't cool. Like it was like dancing was like niche, but then it kind of like I thought it went away, and then you go on TikTok and it's sick.
Everything that was cringe and like really embarrassing then is now cool. I don't know if tennis got cool because of TikTok. I wonder if it probably totally is valid. The thing I always thought was like, I feel like it's because like ALD and all these like these like streetwear kind of like luxury brands have this kind of like polo tennis aesthetic.
And doesn't Tyler the Creator, his brand is just called Golf?
Yes, totally.
And I'm like, that's cool because as a guy who likes golf, I was always like, we need some black people
it's
to
way too
co-sign
racist.
this because Tiger's great, you know.
I forgot how bold of a move that is to have a clothing company called Golf and be like a black guy that wears nail polish. That's pretty
You
dope.
have to be a black guy that wears nail. Imagine
Yeah.
being a white dude and being
But
like,
I mean, you know-
it's kind of like what Ralph Lauren did. Like that was back
Was
then.
Ralph Lauren black?
No, but no, I'm saying it's actually it's how it's switched. So I'm saying
Yeah.
a white guy naming his brand Golf
Yes.
would be like what Ralph Lauren did when he named his polo. It was like, okay, I'm white.
Yeah.
But how white can
But
we
back
get? But
then-
back then it was like
He was radical.
you got to get as white as possible. No, he was
Totally.
leaning into what was cool. Now it's cool to be like not. Now it's cool to be different.
Okay, yeah. I think I see the analogy. I did take a little gummy before I came.
Nice,
I
dude.
thought it was
Okay, good.
CBD, and then
it's
I was on the
THC.
train and I was like, I think there's a little something else in there.
I love that,
So
dude.
if I'm missing some things, that's
No,
why.
that's good. We're gonna get there.
Okay, great. I love that part.
Yeah, no, I think that the concepts are all kind of fused. I think back in the day, it was like there is one mainstream.
Yes.
So a white guy like Ralph Lauren being like Polo was like, let's double down, let's do this.
Let's make the whitest brand of all time. That's what you're saying.
Exactly.
Yes, totally.
Exactly.
Yes.
And now it's like, what if people are a little confused? What if it's like,
Yeah.
oh, that's interesting.
What if it's a store called Golf and you show up and it's all like lesbian
Yeah.
workers with like, whatever, septum piercings
yeah, yeah.
and it's $800 flip flops or whatever.
Yeah. That's a great idea.
Totally.
So that would work.
Yeah, some white guy in a country club is like,
And it would work because lesbians like to dress like caddies anyway.
totally. A lot of collars over the shirts.
Yeah,
A lot of sweaters.
Overalls.
Yeah, totally.
Get this girl a divot fixer. She wants to dig in the mud.
Towels hanging out of the pocket.
Yeah.
I don't even know if that is relatable. But
It is. I
It
think
is. There's something on that,
yeah,
right?
100%.
Yes.
Yeah, it
Okay.
works. Dude.
That's funny.
Yeah. Have you? I know that Tyler the Creator's clothing brand exists. Have you seen the clothes? And
It's pretty dope.
It's pretty sick.
It's pretty sick.
Yeah.
Some of the new stuff's pretty good. The stuff that says like golf and it's like striped shirts, I'm like,
Yeah.
it was like maybe earlier 2000s stuff. But the stuff now it's pretty cool.
What is it, like $800 a shirt?
It's crazy shit. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
that's
like
tight.
it's kind of he's doing like a partnership with like Lacoste too, or there's like a collab.
It's perfect.
Which is another thing of
All
like
the-
the
because
tennis. This tennis vibe is coming. This tennis golf
Yes.
shit is coming back.
And every person in marketing at Lacoste is going, okay, we know what people think about the brand.
Yeah.
What can we do to change that?
Yes.
Like
Totally.
we're dying to change it.
Black
And-
guy skateboarders.
Yeah, it's perfect.
Perfect. The coolest vibe to bring into an old brand.
Yeah, exactly. So, but like as a white guy, it's like what do I do? Because you can't go.
Do you feel
can't just-
uncomfortable shopping at stores that have collabs that feel out of your ethnicity?
No. I like that. I mean, I enjoy all of that. I'm just saying, like, how could I confuse people?
Right.
See that you get into real problematic territory right there.
You do have some saucy outfits. You got
I
some
do.
drip. I see clips sometimes that are like full pieces on stage.
Yeah.
There was something you had that had a drawstring.
Oh. Yeah, dude.
That was
Yeah.
infuriating. I hated
was,
that.
That was handmade. That's
What was that?
A one of one. I was doing a show in Vancouver and I was doing crowd work. And I'm like asking a guy what he does, and he's like, "Oh, I work in fashion, And I made some boring joke. What do you like, what kind of fashion do you do?
Yeah,
and he's
the
like,
clip did really
and
well.
he
It got a
goes-
billion views.
Yeah, it was perfect. He goes, I actually rework like sports gear, and I am a huge sports fan. And so I was like, oh wait, actually, that's fucking sick. And he came up after the show and was like, yo, you mentioned you're a Sharks fan. I'd love to make you like a custom rework Sharks outfit. So we got
sick.
2 Joe Thornton jerseys, who's like a classic Sharks player.
He's
and
good. He's a good guy.
He made the whole thing out of 2 jerseys from one player, and he turned it into a tracksuit. His name's Tyson Gibson. Tyson Gibson Design.
Look him up.
He's done some dope shit. He's like made stuff for like NFL players. And
Damn.
it was just kind of like
Did
luck
you get
that
the
he was in
hookup?
my
You got
show.
it for free?
He was like, I'm gonna make this for you for free, and then I was like, hey, I need it by my like San Jose show, because where else,
Yeah. It's so funny to get something for
that?
free and then also be like, but I also do have a deadline. So
Right. It was 7 months away.
Oh, so
but
that's
then
fine.
I was like following up, like, hey, still good for
Yeah,
these
yeah.
12. Thanks again, brother. Like, massively appreciate it. Yeah.
no rush at all.
and
But if
so
you're doing it, for sure, rush a little bit.
Yeah, so then he was basically like, hey, like he's like, I feel bad because I offered, but do you mind paying for the jerseys? And I was like, no, I'll buy the jersey. Of course. You're still doing all the labor and whatever. So yeah, so I paid for the jerseys, but otherwise he did it for free. And so I tag him and everything. Some of the clips have done well on Reddit, and I'm like linking to his page and shit because half the comments are people being like, this is sick, or like, this sucks, and I just like downvote that and move on. But otherwise,
you just delete those. And that never happened.
Don't come at Tyson.
Yeah,
you come at me.
That's bullshit.
You want to talk shit about my comedy, you come straight to the source.
How cool is it to get some hookups in comedy, to get some stuff kind of discounted for free? It's pretty sick.
It's like mind blowing.
Yeah,
and obviously the longer you do it and the better you do, the more it happens. But it's still kind of crazy.
Yeah,
and you get stuff that like I would never A, have found him, but B, like if I had just DM'd him like, hey, are you willing to like custom, like there's nothing in it for them because they don't get exposure, so it's sick.
Totally.
Yeah. So you were a sports fan.
Sorry, yeah, I feel like I got us on a tangent there.
That is what podcasts are, by the way.
Folks, we're talking out of our ass.
Yeah.
I was a sports fan growing up. So I played tennis.
Yeah.
In like whatever till like middle school, sometime in middle school, probably 5th grade maybe I stopped, and I was pretty good. It was pretty solid. I was ranked in the Midwest.
Whoa,
I was doing all right.
Okay.
And then I quit pretty aggressively. I was like, Dad, I'm not fucking doing this.
Yeah.
All my friends were playing football, and then I remember there was like a summer where they were all playing football and I didn't, and then like they all got close, and then I came back from summer break and they were like, gay, and I was like, no. So I was like, I have to play team sports this year.
Yeah.
So then I played basketball. And then I was like, I'll commit my life to this.
And it becomes your thing.
It became my thing.
I am basketball guy.
I was like, I have to.
And basketball's a cool thing to get obsessed with. There's a lot of coolness around
Michael
it.
Jordan, when you're a kid and you do like a Michael Jordan deep dive on YouTube,
Dude.
it's the craziest shit ever.
Even like a Kobe like Sprite commercial is somehow fire.
Because they kind of act like they're as like sporadic as children. You know what
do
I
you
mean?
mean?
They're kind of just like, they said I couldn't do it, but I fucking did it anyway. And you're like, yes,
yeah,
you're right.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah, fuck you, Mom.
Yeah.
I'm staying up late. Like there's this level of like, maybe not arrogance, but just determination where you're like, oh my God, I want to be these guys.
Well, it's both those things, right? Like it's all of the arrogance and motivation that goes into like the average Navy SEAL influencer on Instagram, but it's backed up with someone who like gets buckets and makes millions and has done it.
It's actually sick. Yeah.
And it's so aggro, like the one-on-one. I think it's the one-on-one nature of basketball that allows it to be the biggest shit-talking sport. Because, like, if you talk shit in football, but your defensive coordinator runs up, like, a bad coverage, and then
you don't see each
burned.
other. You can't. The other guy, the guy's not even on the field the same time as you.
Yeah. Basketball, one guy can be like, it's me, and just fucking take over a game.
And it's just so humiliating too. The amount of things that it got, like you can break someone's ankles, you can dunk on someone, like the AI step over the guy is just like the craziest.
So sick.
Every middle school kid is like, that's the coolest shit I've ever seen.
That's who I want to be.
Yes, 100%.
I had a very similar experience because I was a baseball guy, and like that's what I played baseball and hockey, but hockey was like, grew up in California. You're probably not going to make it compared to the like Canadian dudes.
Right.
Baseball, I was like actually good, and it's what got me into college. Whatever, that didn't end up working.
You played college, right?
It got me into my college, and I was on the team for like a month during tryouts. But I was a recruited walk-on, and they only kept 1 out of 15 of us, and we all thought we were going to be on the team.
Whoa.
And like, so we're going around orientation, and it's like, hey, what are you here for? It's like, I'm here to play ball. You know, like, and then 6 other kids say that.
Dude,
like,
we had a kid in our friend group in college that was like that. It kept saying he was on the football team, and he was like, no, I'm like red, purple shirted. Like he was just making up terms, and like people were like, I don't think this guy's on the team at all.
No, it's insane. But in high school, I was like captain, and we were like good for a bad league, but whatever. The point is, I had the exact same experience where it became like I became anti the football team.
Yes.
Like I wanted them to lose because they were getting all the shine during the fall, and I was like, no one fucking cares about baseball. Fuck these guys.
That's so funny.
Secretly, like I was like, going to the games and rooting or whatever. But a girl I had a crush on would show up in some like fucking offensive lineman's jersey, and I'd be like, what the fuck is this, dude?
Well, baseball doesn't have like the typical like cheerleader dating the first base guy. It's like
dad's watching, dude.
Yeah,
like
no chicks care about baseball.
Dude, I had to like I had to work hard to get girls out to the games. It was mostly dads. There were 2 dads on the team that would just scream at their sons the whole game, and that was like our fan base.
Yeah.
There
was your dad in it?
My dad was he was at everything, and he was incredibly supportive, but thankfully he was not like screaming.
He was chill.
Dude, there was a guy who his dad was just a hard ass, and he was on him all the time, and the guy played right field, okay? All that matters, he's in the outfield.
Wait, is it right if you're staring at home plate, or where are you
So if this is home plate,
stage right or stage left?
Right. So if this is home plate, he's here. Okay. All that matters is it backed up against the football stadium, so the visiting bleachers went up and hovered over right field. So everyone would be watching the game, and this kid would be standing in right field, and his dad would be standing alone on the bleachers, like 40 feet above him and 20 feet away, just screaming at him the entire time. Dude.
Where's this kid now?
He
killed himself.
He had some problems. He wrecked like 3 cars, and he
shit.
would do drugs, and he fucked a lot. So that was cool at the time.
At least he fucked a lot. Yeah.
I think he's one of those guys where you're like, I bet he's not doing shit now, and he probably makes like $500,000 selling insurance a year.
Yeah,
you know?
he's probably doing pretty good.
And you're like that loser.
Yeah.
Way more.
We're happy.
I'm like, yeah, you ever gotten a handmade tracksuit?
Yeah, you ever done a podcast at fucking 3 p.m.?
Yeah. You ever set up your own podcast?
Yeah.
Do everything. But yeah, it was that rivalry with like football, and it felt like you kind of like created an own identity. So I was even more of a baseball guy than I would have been, because it was like, I'm not part of this objectively cool thing, so I have to be the guy and own it. And you were kind of with basketball.
With basketball, yeah.
Basketball was cooler though.
But then I had a weird guy because I just never played. I would like never get in the games. Every coach fucking hated me.
Well, is it because you sucked?
No, I was pretty good skill-wise. Like, I worked hard as fuck. I was definitely the hardest worker.
Yeah. I can just see you swimming in a basketball jersey, though.
I definitely just wasn't built for it at all. But I wanted it more than any. I mean, I would get up before school, and I would, like, shoot outside and, like, do, like, ball hand. Like, I was, like, autistic about it.
Yeah.
Sorry.
That's fine.
No, we're safe space.
Yeah. It's a straight white man's podcast.
Buddy, I'll let it fly. Yeah. I'm going to say retarded in a little bit. But yeah, I wanted it so bad, and I just didn't. You know when you almost, what's it called in baseball? I don't know if it's in baseball. It's like the yups or something. He has
the yips.
Yips. Yeah. I almost had yips when they would barely play me.
Yeah. And
then when I would get small windows, it'd be like the end of a game. And like they'd throw me in for like 30 seconds. We were down, and I'd be like, I'd like miss a layup or something, because I'd be on the bench for an hour and a half, just being like just daydreaming, and they'd be like, get in, and I'd be like, fuck, it's like a packed gym, you know?
It'd be like if you were on a stacked lineup at the Cellar, and like Louis C.K. was on, and they were like, you know what, Emil, go, and you got one joke, and you're like, what?
Totally.
I have 1 minute.
What's nice about stand-up though is once I left like the sports world, and I was like, this wasn't for me.
Yeah.
It's nice to find stand-up where I'm like, oh, I can do this. Like I can rise to those occasions in stand-up, which is such a relief to be like, okay, I just didn't find the right thing at that time, you know?
Yeah, I think I had a similar thing, because like I thought I was going to be great, because I've been playing since I was a kid. It was like my whole thing. It got me into college. I was like, okay, this is what I'm going to do. I had offers to go play other places, but I ended up staying, and I was just kind of like, for me, I was like, I need a continuation of like, that didn't work, but what is that thing? Because I need something to.
Did it need to be sports related to you?
Well, I mean, I think this is maybe, I don't know if it's like arrogant or self-aware. It's so similar. It's right, but like, I think I wanted to feel like the guy. I wanted to like be doing a thing. And this ended up like, looking back, there were so many other things that like I was always like making funny videos with my friends and filming stuff and being goofy, and like it made sense looking back. But it was like, to me, it was like I need to do a thing that feels cool and that has the excitement of like, game day was the coolest thing.
Yes.
You know, a big
Getting
show.
to walk around with your jersey on in high school, you're like, fuck.
Dude, it's sick. And
I relate to that though a lot, about being like, looking back then being like, oh yeah, I was always making jokes within that thing that I didn't feel totally a part of. Like when I was like warming the bench during basketball games, I'd have like all these friends in the bleachers, like in the student section cheer, and I'd have like my warm up, and I'd like fake take it off. The coach would be drawing up. We'd be like down by 2 with like 10. It'd be like a really tense time, and I'd be like faking that I'm gonna get in and just killing for the student section.
The worse I was, the more I was killing.
Yes.
So like I played basketball.
The worse off
too.
you were? Yeah,
exactly.
100%.
Like, I played basketball too, and I wasn't as good, but I was like killing it in the locker room and like on the bench and like all this goofy shit. Like in 6th grade, I was on the basketball team, and I was like, if you can't play the best, look the best. And so I would like have like sweatbands and shit, and I'd be like, Coach, I'm ready for my free throws.
Just doing bits, and I'm like, I wonder why the coaches didn't like me.
Like, when I didn't make the team at UCSD, I had an opportunity to like help out and like be around the team, because he was like, look, this will put you in a good position to be there next year, and like everyone likes you, like you're a hit in the dugout. And at first I was like, oh, that's cool, but then I was like, what, am I gonna wash clothes? I'm a fucking man,
totally.
dude.
I'm not gonna be the fucking water boy.
That's whack. But so you played it a bit in high school, and then that made you a fan. Did you grow up being a fan of anything?
Anything at all, like sports wise?
Yeah, like it's not part of your family, is what I'm gathering.
Basketball? No, not at all.
Right. So you never like around the house. I'm just interested because for me it was like on Sunday football's on all day.
Yeah.
Niners, Giants games, fucking Warriors, all the Bay Area sports teams.
Right.
Like we had season tickets to the Sharks. Like sports was a huge part of our life.
Yeah, it was like like not as seriously. My dad's from Lebanon, so it's like he's like an immigrant, but he's got some Americanized like he'll watch the Bears, and he'll like get mad that when they lose, he'll be like,
he likes the Bears.
He likes the Bears.
Because you lived in Chicago for a bit.
But like he would like watch the Bears some and just be like, gosh darn it, they fucking lost again. But it wasn't.
He
like,
understands.
He understands. He had some like white dad moments of being like, oh, the Bears can't get their shit together. But he wasn't like awesome. It never like carried into like dinner where he was like actually pissed and like, you know.
That's the right amount of fandom.
It was the right amount of fandom, yeah.
Yeah.
But I'm trying to think what else. No, they were like pretty. Yeah, I feel like when I left the house, I kind of had to find my own interests, because like music, movie, everything was just kind of like, yeah, they were like that exists.
Was he interested in Lebanese music and movies, or was it just kind of like not his thing? He was what does he do for work?
He's a doctor.
He's a doctor.
Yeah, emergency room doctor on the south side of Chicago.
So he doesn't really need.
He doesn't need much.
Get his like heart invested in other things.
He doesn't need to feel other things. I think he finishes that. He goes, I'm fulfilled. I have a family. Yeah, I came here. I made it. Like he's good.
Is he feel like he's chilling?
Yeah, he feels pretty chill.
Good.
My parents now feel.
That's amazing.
I know. Well, it's like, yeah, growing up, I don't know if your parents like the same way. It's like just you get to a certain age where you're like, all right, they're getting weird because we're out of the house and they need a thing.
Yeah.
And I need to get them to feel, because I need to go live my life. So I need to feel like they're good.
I still think that our family operates best when I'm very involved.
Totally. 100%.
Like, yeah.
And you're far too. You're across the country.
Yeah, they didn't love that. I mean, they support it. They're huge, like they support the whole thing and whatever, but it's like I don't get the feel, like I don't go home and I'm like, my dad's clearly at peace. You know?
Yeah. Well, I just never had the parents that were like, oh, they're 18, they're out of the fucking house, thank God. You know?
Yeah.
They were like, when are you coming home next? And I'm like, I left a week ago.
Mine are the same way. I mean, what do you think is better? I'm so curious by that, because it's like on the one hand, it's like, as a kid, you want to feel like you don't want to feel the pressure of, hey, I got to put the team on my back. You kind of just want to do your own thing. But at the same time, if they're like, get the fuck out of here, you'd be like, kind of want to come home. Are you excited?
Totally.
Hi, I'm home.
No, I'm definitely glad I have the other extreme of that spectrum. I'd rather that than the other.
Yeah.
But then sometimes I am like, all right, you guys got to get friends and...
Yeah.
And they're getting better.
And they still live in Chicago?
They still live in Chicago, yeah.
Okay. Where in Chicago?
Like 25 minutes out. It's called Burr Ridge. Yeah.
Nice. How old was your dad when he came over here?
19.
Damn.
Yeah, pretty sick.
How did he make the jump?
Him and his brothers opened a restaurant. It was a fruit stand first in Lebanon, in Beirut. It was like during the war. There was a civil war, so they had this like fruit stand, and it was like... It's a crazy story. Him and his like brothers, him and my uncles told me it like a couple years ago, and I was like, this is fucking nuts. And it was basically like there was the city was divided between like east and west, and there was you know, army, military blockades and shit. So it's like just checkpoints, really strict. And so they found a guy. They had this crazy guy that like, now my dad was like, he was on cocaine. Like when I was younger, he was like, he was just crazy. But they had this crazy guy in the town that like they found that would drive a truck across the borders and go get produce and then bring it back. He like over these like sniper lines. Like this guy just didn't give a shit. He was just like whatever.
The original fruit ninja.
Dude, sick as hell. Yes.
Yeah.
This guy was just nuts. Just fucking AC/DC blasting. Just,
that's crazy.
Yes. So then they would get these truckloads of produce. They'd open and there'd be like lines out, you know, around the whole block. They'd sell out in a couple hours. They would just make like crazy money. And then they turned it into like a restaurant. And then it was doing really well. And like, you know, they always blow all these like, Lebanese guys love to like, they're like, the president came one time. And you're like, no, the president didn't fucking come.
Maybe he did.
But they did say they had a picture of ABBA, the band. ABBA was in Lebanon touring and they came to the restaurant afterwards, which is kind of sick. So they came, so whatever. Yeah. They made this restaurant that was kind of this big nightclub kind of deal, whatever. And then my dad was just like, I gotta go to America. Like, I don't know what his main, I think he was just like, I need to do something
So he
else.
had made enough money that he was able to.
I think for there, they were doing okay. But then he had an older brother who was like, who just kept wasting it on like, he would like treat people and like buy like fur coats for women and shit. Like just very like, very
Dude,
like mafia.
when Arab dudes
Sopranos.
flex, it's
Bro.
so sick.
His brother one time took all their money. They were supposed to like buy, you know, whatever, pay the vendors and all this shit. He like bought a bunch of, I think it was, what do they make the coats out of? Like mink or something?
Yeah, I believe so.
A bunch of like minks or something, or like rabbits, to try to be like, we got to get in the fur coat business. And then like one of them got like a disease and it spread through the whole litter and just killed like a whole, like they, whatever, 20 grand worth of like bunnies that he just wasted this money on. Yeah. He's like, don't worry, this is going to be our next big move. So I think this brother had like one. He was the guy that was like, we got to take the money from the fruit stand and make the restaurant.
Yeah.
So he had this one hit wonder, and then after that, it was all bad ideas. So my dad was like, I got to get the fuck out of here. I got to leave. And then his mom was like, if you leave, the restaurant's gonna crumble. You're holding it together. And then he left, and it did.
You know what's crazy about all that?
Huh.
That happened before he was 19.
Yeah, it's crazy.
That's an entire career.
It would have been my whole story if that was my life.
Dude, yeah, our
I would write a book
generation,
about
if
it.
you want to open a restaurant,
Yeah.
you're 35.
And you know what's crazy? He did all that, and then he didn't think, I should do a podcast about this and tell people. That would have been my first thought. Is I would have been, I got to make a series. It's a limited series.
Yeah. It's called The Fruit Stand.
Yeah, I'm trying to write a pilot about it. I didn't even live the life, and
Yeah.
I'm like, I gotta tell people about this.
Yeah, well, it is. It's fun. It actually brings up. I was watching your Comedy Central set, which is great. It's kind of.
Thanks,
I feel
buddy.
like it's the. This is a new segment called "Taking a Premise That You Made Funny and Making It Not Funny."
I love this.
exploring
Let's
it.
stretch it out further.
Yeah.
It's called fluffing up.
But the basic premise that I loved was basically like America having silly problems is a good thing.
Totally.
Like that's because it doesn't suck here that we're able to. The example you used was like complain about the green M&M trying to fuck your wife.
Yeah.
You know?
It's like conservatives are pissed about like gender stuff, and it's like that's great that we're
exactly.
on that. You know?
Do you think you got that from like having the firsthand experience of like actually talking to your dad about his
Probably
life
for sure. Yeah,
growing up? I mean,
totally.
his obstacle to starting a fruit stand was having to, do a speed run across enemy lines.
Yeah, 100%. It's like because I had that, and then I'm like kind of also Gen Z. Like,
Yeah.
I'm part of the other side of that totally, which
You're
is like
how old are you?
25.
25. Yeah. you
so I'm
are.
really in the
Yeah, you
therapy kind of self-help, all that
Yes,
stuff, self-care
yeah.
shit.
Yeah.
So it's crazy to see the spectrum of that. Because
Yeah.
I'm so American, but then I go back. I've been to Lebanon a couple times, probably like 5 or 6 times. And I just went back last year, and I stayed with my aunt, and I was like, mind blowing how different our lives are.
Right.
It's crazy, dude. I was washing dishes at my aunt's house. Like I was staying in her place for like 2 weeks, and she'd make all these like really nice dishes and meals. It was incredible. So then after I was like, let me, I'll help with the dishes. And I was washing the dishes, and I had the faucet just run, just hot water, just fucking water, thinking I was. And she came in, and she was like, "Hey, you gotta She just gave me this look being like, way too much water. You got to shut it off in between. She was like, you're so white. This is ruining the building right now. Like,
she's like, come out to this ledge. You look out, you see half of the city's gone dark.
Totally.
That is you.
Yeah. My neighbors died. It's horrible for them right now because you wanted to help me for a second.
And she's like trying to be polite because
totally.
she doesn't want to.
She was so sweet, but she was like, "Hey, that's crazy.
What you're doing is completely fucked up."
Yeah, it was unreal. Like, hot too, fully hot water.
Yeah, you're
fully open.
Your hands are getting dry.
Oh my god.
Oh god. Yeah, that is. Well, I mean, so since you have a foot in both worlds, do you feel like with the American problems, with the like focusing on self-care, with the searching for meaning and all of that, which is something you also talk about, do you ever feel like we're overdoing it?
Yeah, totally.
Like, have we thought ourselves into a place that we like can't think out of?
For sure, probably. I think yeah. I think we folded it in maybe sometimes too much.
I don't really have like a perspective because I don't. It's either that or this is just what happens when you have your other needs met and then you're able to search for this, and that's a good thing.
Yeah, I always kind of alternate between those two of like, you know, okay, just stop overthinking it. Life's not that whatever. Right. It doesn't need that much thought. Just get the basics and you're fine. Yeah. And like, I have to meditate and think. Be the thinker behind the. It's like all this convoluted shit.
Right. Like it's like I got to go to Africa, and one of the things that blew me away is like the more remote and like destitute the village, the happier the people seem to be. Totally. Now it could just be part of like a tourism thing, and they're like, what are we gonna fucking open up to this guy and be like, just so you know,
yeah. It's actually really bad here too.
Child died.
We get depressed here too, and it's really dark.
But at the same time, it felt like really genuine. Because, like, at the same time, they're like, I see my friends every day. We're outside. We, like, chill. We don't have to, like, we leave work at work. We row a bunch of white people around in a canoe. We get money. We go back home. Give a fuck. Like,
totally.
I don't know. I haven't lived it, but
I think if I shit in the woods, I would be so much happier.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, have you ever camped for like 3 days?
No. See, I love the idea of being like, one day I'm going to go off the grid. And then people are like, you should just go camp. You drive upstate. I'm like,
I have to do everything first.
I have check spots this weekend. I can't. I have a 7-minute set to not get paid for. I can't. I have to edit a clip.
I have to. I was never a camper, but my wife's family goes, and her dad at like the last one, he's like, you know, it's really great when you can be here for like 3 or 4 days, because he's like, I can see it takes you at least 2 entire days to wind down.
Totally.
Because he's like, at first you get here and like, he's like, it's all good, but like people are asking about what's going on. I'm like, this is going on. This is what I'm thinking about. And I'm like, I have my notebook and I'm like walking around. I'm like, that tree's weird. And I'm like writing notes, you know, and I'm like, hey, can we film a video real quick?
What's the deal with trees?
I have like 3 like camping concept sketches that I want to try. Yes. And then like by day 3, I just like wake up, I'm having a beer and I'm like, what kind of duck is that?
Yeah,
and like
it's only for you. You don't care about packaging that.
No, I'm not packaging the duck anymore.
Sending it to somewhere else.
Right.
And
that's the weird thing with comedies. I think it's a benefit because you get to think about stuff all the time, and so it like pushes you and it makes you think about things in a variety of ways. But like there is this weird packaging component where it's like something happens in your life and you're like, I got something out of that.
Yeah, it's like your job is like painting a sunset, and then it's like, well, I never get to see a sunset then, because I'm always just like fucking here.
It's the opposite of whatever the Native American principle is of like taking a picture steals the soul of it.
Yes.
It's like I am a soul stealer.
That's a good quote. I like
everything.
That.
Oh yeah, I made it up.
Really?
No.
Native American. Yeah, you said
never
Native American. Yeah. They know. Wait,
dude.
When cameras came around,
that's a great name for like a conservative leaning comedy special. It's Native American. You want to know what a Native American looks like? It looks like this. It's got nuts on its truck. It eats corn and it says "fuck you."
And huge American flag explosions.
Yeah.
That's so
Joey Avery, Native American.
Native American is the new patriot to them. They're taking it back.
Yeah, they're taking it back.
In 30 years, that's the new branding.
I might be in the market for just the full like conservative swing at some point.
Joey Avery has had enough. He's gone from renting an apartment to owning the libs.
Y'all want to know how I know Biden's gay? He's letting a train full of brown dudes invade his southern border.
He's saying things you just can't say.
So I get to Kabul and I go, I haven't seen this many towels on head since I was a peeping Tom in the ladies' locker room. Can't say that anymore? What, I'm not supposed to like Milkies? Rather have a sweater cannon than a suicide vest. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying.
It's no holds barred comedy.
Speaking of boobs, enough with this trans thing, am I right? If God gave you a penis, you keep that penis. Gotta give me something to hang on to while I'm hitting it from the back. Oh, what? You gonna cancel me now?
And he's saying stuff you won't hear anywhere else.
It's not gay. She's got double D's. At least I'm fucking. You're gay. That's what I think. It's called Thailand.
Joey Avery, Native American.
You think it'll happen?
I mean, like, if I'm not making money in 10 years and I've tried, like, being an earnest and honest expression of myself and I've got, like, kids.
Yeah, I love my kids, but I gotta be racist.
You know?
For my kids.
Yeah. And
You're
I'm
gonna
not
Rob
saying
Schneider
that, like, I'm not saying that everyone does it as a grift, because some people believe it. There are a lot of people who aren't even, like, conservative that say things that then super liberal people are like, now you're a conservative. We could untie the whole thing, but at the end of the day, you'll know when you see it.
Totally. And you can also just go, when you get old enough to where something you say and you feel the younger generation goes, you idiot, you're just already there.
Yeah, this is
You're going to be like, you know, it's like Ricky Gervais gets like a lot of shit.
Yeah.
And he thinks he's woke and on top of it, but he's just outdated. He's just old.
Well, I think it's also this because Chappelle gets so much whenever he brings up the trans community for a variety of reasons. I was discussing this with some friends. I do think there is a malfunction in almost any comedian's mind where it's like, oh, you said that I can't?
Yeah.
Now I must.
Yeah,
and not only that, if you're on tour and everyone knows about it, it's going to get the biggest pop in the room every time. So the hour you're making, whenever he spins a story and he spins it back, like his last one, he made a few jokes about it. I didn't think they were particular, not that it's up to me to decide, but like I didn't think they were crazy. But all the articles come out and everything comes out and it's like, he just won't drop it. And I'm like, he will not drop it as long as this suspense exists in this balloon that he can just pop and it gets a fucking laugh every time.
Totally.
He's going to do it, and he's just going to be like, you can't tell me what to say.
And it was just not a good special. So then it's any criticism of it is like, oh, they were offended. And it's like, no, it was bad. It was just bad.
Well, but also if you read the criticisms, none of them really were that. It's like no one's discussing the substance of it. Everyone's playing this very predictable game that is built to feed the same algorithm. The variety writer is going to write, Dave Chappelle proves he just can't get over a trans topic, and Dave will joke on that, and they're having this conversation, and none of it's about like the special or what he actually said or how it's done.
Don't you feel like there's no representation of like the majority of people's opinions on things? Like, especially with that, it's like everything does feel like it's like this, but 99% of people are here, and this is never talked about. This stance of like, it was bad for a bunch of reasons.
Yeah.
The trans jokes we kind of assumed he was going to do. It's almost a sunk cost at this point.
Right.
But why are we just giving it fuel in that direction? Can't we just be like, it was not good?
Yeah, I think it's like, I think it's the way the whole system is set up.
It's like clickbait stuff.
Yeah, I mean, there's so much stuff that to cut through, you have to be kind of crazy. And like back in the day, and I'm not saying there were issues with this too, but back in the day, there was like one news anchor and like 3 publications. And if you got your voice into being an opinion writer for like the Times, you could say something relatively normal and everyone would read it because everyone was reading it anyway.
Right.
But now it's like, you just have to do something crazy. Like if you go on Yelp and you're looking at a restaurant, are you reading the 4-star reviews or are you reading the 5s and the 1s?
That's a great point. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
You see like a sane person online, you're like, I didn't come here for that. I'm on the internet.
Sucks.
Yeah, I didn't come here to hear how my parents talk.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
or my friends. It's like I want the crazy people.
And it's at our generation, it's not great for comedy either because a lot of the stuff that go now, granted, a lot of non-political stuff goes viral, but a lot of the shit that goes viral is like 20% of the people are mad, 40% of the people are mad, they're mad, so they're clapping back to them, and then 60% enjoyed it. That's the comment. Of course, a lot of people just like things, but like a lot of stuff that goes viral is contributing to the polarization.
Yeah, it's not like this was a really good joke. It's not everyone just be like so funny,
so good.
It's like you motherfucker.
Yeah, I have a Taylor Swift joke that I edited. I kind of wrote it and did 4 sets in a night, and I like by the end I was like, okay, I think this is good and it's topical, so I clipped it and I was considering putting it out, and I sent it to a bunch of friends, and I was like, they're like, well, this is great, but I wouldn't put it out because you're gonna get killed. And I sent it to my manager, and he was like, dude, this is great. Comments are gonna go nuts. And I'm like, I don't know what to do.
Agents are drooling. Yes, I'll post it, Joey.
If I don't release it, I'm gonna put it in here.
What's the sorry?
Yeah.
What's the joke?
I'll show it to you because it'll be plugged in anyway, and then we'll hop back in.
Someone made Taylor Swift AI porn pictures. Y'all see that?
Oh, I'm the only fucking guy? I'm the only guy in a fantasy football group chat in this room? I find that very hard to believe. I'm fascinated to see what she's gonna do about it. I didn't want to see those pictures. I was like, I do not support this, but I had to look. That's how I feel about everything online. I'm like, I don't like that, but I'll take a peek, dude. Like, you think I want to see beheading videos? No, but I gotta make sure that I know what's going on. And she made some heads disappear in those too. I'm just saying. I'm just interested to see what she's gonna do. She's a vindictive lady if you cross her. There was a guy named Scooter Braun who bought all of her music and the rights to her music, and she was like, I will not let this stand. So she went and she recorded her own version of all those songs. So I'm wondering if we're gonna get Taylor's version. Dude,
That's a great joke. That's great.
I mean, do you think I should post it?
Maybe cut out the
beheading
part they groan.
Yeah,
I didn't think the beheading joke is funny.
Yeah, that is true. I could just cut out the making heads disappear.
Even that's not that bad. Wait, is that bad?
I mean, I don't even know.
What is that inferred? Yeah, what is it?
I think that what would happen is they don't care. Like, they're gonna get mad no matter what.
It doesn't matter if you cut any of that.
So if I make it sexual, then they're gonna be like, you're a sex criminal, and they're gonna like dox my family
piece of shit.
And there's this whole her mob is insane because it's like I think the whole premise of the Taylor mob is like, you don't know what she's been through. She's been through so much shit. We protect her at all costs.
Yeah.
But the more that a bunch of people are swarming in saying that, it's the same thing. The more everyone's gonna be like, okay, well, I'm gonna make jokes about it. At the very least, if we're talking about groups that should be protected, the most famous, successful, one of the most famous, successful human beings on the planet can't take priority.
Well, also, we're bugs to her. Like, it doesn't affect. Care. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
She's public domain at this point.
Yeah.
Nothing we say actually has any effect ever. So who cares?
It is interesting. It's that. I've been thinking about fandom as we've been talking about it, because I've talked about sports and all this shit, and it's like her fans, I think they largely grew up without sports, and then they found something and they were like, this is my fucking thing.
And even more so, they hate the sports guys, probably the most.
Except now that she's dating Travis Kelce,
right. It's
it merged.
A cool
so
thing.
now you have worlds of fandom colliding.
That shouldn't be together.
No, you have it's so pressing right now because all the football fans are, I will say, also too easily triggered by her.
It's like Shane Gillis and Union Hall audiences.
What's Union Hall?
Union Hall is like a Brooklyn like alt indie kind of venue. It's
do you do well everywhere?
I do okay. I mean, I'm trying to think what I think just starting in Indiana in the Midwest, like I just learned to like, you got to make shit work in kinds of every room. But there's definitely been rooms lately where I'm like, that just wasn't for me. And it just it kind of
is it an all to your crowd that gets you, or is it?
It's so weird. Sometimes
I don't know who wouldn't.
Sometimes an alt room doesn't like it because they just hear some buzzwords and they just shut down on things. Even though I'm like, I'm on your side. I'm being progressive. I just have to make it fun. You know, I can't just say everything you agree with exactly how you think it.
I don't know what
I have to twist something.
I sometimes I want to go up to people and be like, no hard feelings, because I think comics get defensive too easily all the time.
Yeah,
myself included. But like, it's it's a note. But like, I think sometimes I want to go up to someone and be like, hey, I'm sure you're a great person. I think you'd like slam poetry.
Yes,
like
I don't think you should have come
want
here.
Poetry. If you just want people to say things that are like unassailable and like good-hearted and potentially naive, you just go snap.
It's also a weird thing of like it feels so like aware that like people that in the audience are mad that you're saying something that is maybe, it's like, do you not think that this is such a rambly, I don't even know what I'm trying to say.
This is what we're doing today.
I guess
this podcast should be called, Why Do You Think
What
That
do you,
Is?
Don't you think it's...
What do you think?
It feels kind of childish at this point in America after the couple years we've been through that you would hold a comedian to a standard that you think they should change the world with what they're saying. When it's like, we've all lived through the last couple years where we've tried everything. We've tried all these marches and saying the right things and cutting out all the micro bad, whatever the fuck.
Right.
And it's like, where did that get us? Kind of nowhere. I'm clearly a good person. Let's just fuck around now and joke. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Does that kind of make sense?
No, it does. And I'm trying to figure out what it is. I think it's their own like self-importance that they have come to this, like people, I think they want to defend their own enlightenment. Yeah. And so they're almost like, I can't even entertain that idea. That's gross. We've moved on. Like we can't even discuss these topics. It's beneath me. And it just tells me that you don't live in the real world. Like people are in circles around dinner tables, just having these conversations where they're just sucking each other off about how this is everything they're thinking is right. And I think what they don't understand is that even though they're probably closer to the right side of history on some issues, they're shooting their own cause in the foot because no one wants to live in that world.
Yeah. Well, I think, and everyone, wait, sorry. Explain that a little more.
Like, as I finished that, I was like, I don't think he's going to know what I meant because I don't think I totally landed.
You're like, gay marriage is a cool fantasy, but it's not going to happen.
I mean, we're not going to let everyone vote.
Jesus Christ.
Oh, we have been?
Oh, fuck. Yeah,
buddy. I gotta
get out
this.
there.
I got to update this podcast.
I got to go to Washington, D.C. tomorrow to fucking talk to somebody.
I think people get so far along the path of their own ideology based on what they consume in the groups that they're in that they don't realize that it becomes impossible for them to convert someone who probably is closer to agreeing with them, but doesn't speak the same exact language. Does that make more sense?
And I think I'm just annoyed at it's like, I guess I'm saying like, I kind of like the liberal party.
Right.
It's just like, we're so off in our execution of things. Like our intentions are correct. We want universal health care, rights, all that stuff. But it's like, we're yelling at people online. Like, we should be like cutting senators' heads off. Do you know what I mean? Like, that's a little intense. Senators. That's too crazy to say. But like, we should.
This is what happens when you have an Arab guy on the podcast. Let me tell you.
January 6th, but for reproductive rights and abortion. Ladies, you know what I'm saying? That's my stance.
We're going to invade the Capitol like it's a womb.
We should have guns. We should be the party with guns. We shouldn't just be like tweeting and yelling at each other and be like, that joke isn't funny. It's like, that's not where the change is made. Go kill Joe Biden.
Now you're killing Biden.
So sorry. I don't agree with any of this. What was the intern's name again?
No, Which
The intern-
the one that
the
was like
fake
saying that
intern?
like Trump.
No,
Like,
the fake intern that you have edit this.
oh, Ronald.
Ronald, cut it.
Yeah, get rid of that, Ron.
Ron, don't make me seem like this guy.
I'm just gonna make that the promo clip for the episode. It's just a standalone.
We have to kill Joe Biden.
And then I'll message you and I'll go like, "Hey, bro, no pressure, but I'm gonna tag you as a collab if you want this on your page."
Hey, bro, congrats on that thing I just saw you get. But by the way, I'm gonna tag you. I hope that's cool and everything.
Yeah, I sent this to
All the bookers.
Yeah.
No, I'm good. I still recycle.
I feel like I have been following politics long enough that I don't know what I think anymore.
Totally.
At least in the context of the American system, where I mean, it's probably what watching the Super Bowl is to most people who don't like the Niners and Chiefs. This is going to come out after this. I don't know why I referenced that, but either way, like it's like you're watching a game with two teams and you don't like either of them, but you have to watch.
Totally.
But I don't even know. I don't know. The older I get, the more I feel like I end up just thinking in circles because I'm just like, well, what do I even know? I don't know. I've never read a bill.
Yeah, I always go like, I know what's happening, and then you just kind of go back to like throwing your arms up, being like fucking.
I don't know. But
I'm getting.
You fall back to things that are good. Like it is like, you know, I have gone through many political journeys in my life and been like, how could you even give healthcare to everyone? That doesn't work with the incentives and the doctors and all that. And then I think about all of it, and then like finally I get to the point where I'm like, you go to the doctor and you have a bill and you're like, if that's tough on me.
Yeah.
And we generate all this money and we can pay for all this other shit. Figure that one out. That should just be baseline. And so I think that extracting myself from the minutia of political conversation has helped my political beliefs more. Where I'm just like, that one feels wrong, and someone should figure that out.
Yes.
And we shouldn't be spending that money, maybe.
Like, they're all idiots is what you're saying. It's kind of zooming up, being like, it's all.
Well, I think
both sides are.
I actually think what it really is a system that is set up to be a game. Yeah. And that is how it's played, but it is a game with dire circumstances, and most of the people playing it are not really feeling those, outcomes.
Yeah, they're like playing it like with like pads on. They have the gutters up, the bumpers up.
Yeah, it's like if you could. They're basically like, to use a football analogy, they're the offensive coordinator. They're calling the plays.
Yeah,
but the humans are the ones who like get a fucking concussion
CTE,
and get pulled out on a
CTE.
stretcher. Except they're not making.
The coach is like, run it again. Yeah. 3 guys.
Run it. Yeah. Run it again.
Yeah.
Like,
perfect. Just like how we drew it up.
I saw something this week that was like a fun example of like political gameplay.
Yeah.
Which was, I guess, the Republican new Speaker of the House introduced 2 bills, and how they have to like count votes. They're like, we have this many votes. A few Republicans didn't. Well, they wanted to impeach Mayorkas, who's like running Biden's border policy, Homeland Security, whatever. And so they're like, we have the votes because apparently the Democrats told the Republicans that one of their congressmen wasn't going to be able to vote because he was in the hospital. So they hid him in Congress.
It's a sneak.
And let all the Republicans vote.
It's a
and
sneak
then they
play?
wheeled him
No way.
in a hospital gown.
No way,
to vote.
Bro.
And 2 of the like main Republican like priorities got shut down because of that. And it's like, that is awesome.
It's like the videos you see of the guy like laying on the field
Yeah.
in football.
Yeah.
He's blending in with like the letters.
He just like, came in.
And then he returns the kick.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Yeah. Wow. I can't believe I haven't seen that.
I didn't.
Crazy.
I just heard it while I was setting up. I was listening to a podcast and they were just telling me that it happened like yesterday. I was like, that's amazing.
That's what makes my mind just fucking spin nowadays. Is like you just hear shit like that, and like the thing about like the one secretary that was like had like sex in the room. Remember like that?
Talking about the dudes who boofoed each other in a Senate hearing room.
Yeah, buffo, butt fuck?
Boofoed. Yeah.
Oh,
butt fuck.
nice. Yeah.
I've heard that. I heard that once, and I just kept it.
No, sure. I think that's great.
Boofoed is nice.
Make it merge. Boofoed. Joey Avery.
I
yes.
boofoed my BFF.
How fucked up is it though that lasts like 2 days and then we're like, next, boring.
No, it's crazy. I wrote a joke about it, and I actually, it might have been one of the ones you saw where I'm wearing all of the drawstrings in the world.
The one piece.
But I literally was like, the day after the show, I like woke up and my friend had filmed that one, and I like texted the timestamps. I'm like, this gotta go like today.
It has been a fun news week. I saw a couple of dudes got caught filming each other butt fucking in the Senate. Did you see that? Yes. Yeah, a couple of dudes fucked each other in the Senate and filmed it, and I watched that video. Let me tell you, I have to stay informed. You know, I'm a cultured man. I had to watch that. I saw it. That was a wild video. That dude was getting his back blown out so hard. It's the first time anyone called for a ceasefire on Capitol Hill this year. That boy's southern border was getting invaded. Let me tell you. By the end of that, he had a wet back. I'll tell you that. That's all that I know. I saw the video, all right? That's what happened. Two guys having sex in Congress brings a whole new meaning to congressional aides. But yeah, it's still less gay than the fact that they wear wigs in British Parliament. So I think that's still a score for America.
Today, it's already
like
old
people
news.
don't care. But the thing is that you mix in like these kind of fun, goofy stories like that, where it's like, you know, a couple guys banged each other. Some people are gonna be mad. It's kind of funny, like all this shit.
Then there's a war, but come on, that's fun.
Well, they get thrown. That's what I'm saying. They get thrown into the same bucket. So like both things have a shelf life.
Yeah.
And for people who are at certain percentages of engagement, I mean, like I remember when Russia invaded Ukraine, dude, I was glued to the TV for a week. I was like, this is the craziest thing ever. And, you know, it's a year later, and it's like, people don't care about Ukraine. I mean,
totally. It's like American Idol or something. It's like a show where you're like, what? That's still on? That's still running?
And like obviously, you know, the war in Gaza and Israel has taken off, and that's superseded. But even
it's crazy how
people have gotten used to that. Like,
yeah,
obviously, again, not everyone, and people shouldn't.
Yeah,
but like it's crazy how much of a limited time you have for people to like really care, and then it's like
that's what's so hard. It's because you're like, I care about the world, and you're like, I want to care about people and all this stuff, but then you're like, how do I do it when this just moves, everything moves on, and you're like, what do I do with these feelings, you know?
And I think what happens is a lot of people, they take that, and the older they get, they go, I've looked at everything, I can't deal with everything. I can't walk around like an open wound all the time. I can focus on my family. And then they just focus on like my kids, my thing. And then it does lead you to politics that only protect yourself, that somehow like can make things worse.
Totally. It comes back around to then you become like, I think it's right wing.
It's a natural. You become a Native American.
And then you become a Native American, brother. It's cool. He's drinking Coors Light, shooting a Bud Light can. Native. He's doing it with a bow and arrow though. Native American.
Oh my God! This is the bow of our forefathers, just a crossbow, like one of the new hunting
ones, a Call of Duty one. It has a trigger on it. Why does it have a scope on it? That's how my ancestors hunted.
Oh, do you feel this? We can, you know, we don't have to talk about this a lot, but it was funny. I mean, funny. It was interesting watching your clips because you've been opening with like commenting, making an acknowledgement of Israel Palestine.
Yeah. So here's what I think about Israel and Palestine. No kidding.
Yeah, it was like a riff I used to have
for a long time.
Yeah, it was like my opening.
Yeah.
Joke, kind of, just to get into stuff. I would just kind of awkwardly be like, "What do you?"
Did you do that because you were like, "I want to bring this up," or were you just like, "I'm gonna like fuck the room up real quick"? And
it was always fun to just get people like, "Oh, okay, that's funny." We get why he thinks that it would be funny to bring that up.
Right.
This is before October 7th and all that shit. Before America was back fully knowing what was happening and shit.
Yeah.
And I would talk about being Middle Eastern, so it would just get me into my set just quick, and it was just kind of like a whatever throwaway line. And then all this happened, and then I was like, oh fuck. So now I've been talking about it more specifically.
Do you feel like I mean, I'm sure you want to. Do you feel a responsibility that you like have to as?
Yeah, it's weird. I don't know. It's like part of me is like, yeah, I want to talk about it, and the other part of me is like, okay, it's not. You're not gonna fix it,
right?
So don't
trivialize it. Like it has to be done in the right tenor.
Yeah, and it's just getting further away from it too, to where the stuff that was working about it and getting people to go, oh, it's like it's kind of losing its essence with people, and they're just kind of like, yeah, we don't really,
Which is so
it's really disheartening. That's what's been hard.
Sucks about comedy is it is all about what you want to say. You're the only one talking and all that, but it's very instructed by the mood of the people that you're talking to.
Yeah.
And so kind of quickly what the tenor of the world is based on if stuff's working, and it has to suck when you care about an issue and then it's just like, I guess we missed the 2-week window.
It sucks
who's still feeling it.
Yeah.
It
sucks almost as much as when you have a really good bit about it that's been working really well.
Dude, just
clip it. Why isn't this working anymore?
Clip it and rip it.
Fuck.
Yeah.
I was saving this for a taping.
Yeah. You're like, look, I don't support Netanyahu. However, I do have Don't Tell in like 2 weeks.
I thought it was evergreen. I thought
he could do a few more things, and this could really pop.
Well, it kind of goes back to what you asked earlier about like, what rooms do you do well in versus what? And it's like, the more I've gotten into this other new phase of like, oh, this is, I think, more my voice on stage, because it's always developed. You're always like, who the fuck am I on stage? The more I'm kind of growing into whatever I think that might be, I'm starting to see rooms fall off where I'm going, all right, I'm not as liked in this room anymore as I used to be. When I was doing self-deprecating, I'm the Arab guy here in this Midwest room, it was kind of like jokes on me, la la la.
Yeah.
They liked that. And then now I'm doing this thing about like, hey, it's interesting what we label a terrorist nowadays.
Right. They're like,
easy, brother.
Yeah.
Like, oh fuck, sorry.
Some guy just switches the terrorist alert system.
Yeah. Sprinklers.
Just went to orange.
I don't know how that happened. Sprinklers. I don't know why that would help.
Every time you go back to the green room, your backpack's being investigated. Yeah. That is interesting. I feel like there is a life cycle of a comic where it's like you learn how to survive, but then you learn how to be what you are. But you're not famous enough that you can just totally do that.
Yeah.
So that's probably when most people are that's why people are always like, oh, a comic fell off. Because it's like, once you're just in rooms that already fuck with you, they let you run with the ball so far.
Totally. And you can get weird and just have these really obscure. That's why all those like hometown guys that are like, oh, every home scene has like a guy that was like just this unbelievable mind. Yeah. And he always quits because people just don't get it early enough.
Right.
He just hasn't found his niche.
Yeah. I mean, I was going to say, I never understand that because I'm like, then what did you go do? But then I see people and I'm like, oh, they made more money and they're happy and they don't have to deal with the stress of this thing that doesn't work out for a lot of people. And it's like, yeah, you really shouldn't do this unless you think you could make it happen. Because if you can, it's the fucking coolest thing ever. But it is depressing to like just if you were to throw 2 decades at something and then have it just fizzle.
The guy that has that really good Unabomber joke from your hometown is now working at Staples.
Yeah.
Would you
writing
believe that?
His own manifesto. Yeah. I guess things come
He has
circle.
access to full printing technology whenever he wants. Kind of genius on his part. 3-hole punch, that's all that guy needs.
That is the thing. We were talking about Chappelle earlier. I feel like he has achieved a status where it is magnetic to like go see him in a room, especially if you don't get to do it frequently. And he is so interesting to me that like when he just talks, I'm like, oh, that's fascinating.
Do you think it's that? I mean, I agree, but up until recently, I feel like now I'm like, I wonder if that's dwindling because of his own kind of like God complex and stuff. Now I'm just like, is he just a really cool voice to hear? Physically, does it just sound incredible? So we're like, we'll just let him bullshit.
He is good at just like he has gotten more out of ashing a cigarette on the stage and looking down.
The deep voice, he can say anything.
Yes, and that's why I realized
coffee tables
Yeah.
used to be great.
Yeah.
Oh, fuck, he's right. They used to be great. Now they're just coffee tables.
There's just something. There's something tough about whenever you reach. I mean, I don't know. I think everything takes confidence, but I do think that comedy requires some humility, and I don't know if he has had much of that.
Right.
Like, because his thing is like, I'm the GOAT. Like, I watched his. I didn't hate the last special. I didn't think it was like the greatest thing ever, but like
it came out like a month or two ago.
Yeah, it came out on New Year's. I watched it. This is the key. I actually have trouble watching specials alone now. I watched it with friends, and like the first 20 minutes we were all laughing. The end it like kind of like dragged a little bit. Had to like pause it to like a bathroom break. You know what I mean?
You're checking your phone.
All right,
like,
let's finish this.
Yeah.
Because he got pretty long-winded with some stuff at the end.
Totally.
And the whole concept was like. I don't know, like I still took something from it because I was like, yeah, you got to have dreams, but it became a 25-minute thing about like a smarter way of like talking about manifesting.
It felt like it was just kind of like, here's a bunch of shit I have, and then let me just tie a bow on it at the end.
Yeah.
And have this weird through line of like, but I was a dreamer.
It's
like a trans joke, and then he's like, I dreamt about being here. Yeah. People are like, oh, what a prophet. He just told like a dumb Titanic joke.
Yeah, it is crazy because I'm still a fan, so I will still like let him like get away with stuff. But like if I apply if anyone else did this,
yes,
I would be like, oh my god,
totally.
Yeah.
Like this sucks.
If like that was a word for word Hannah Gadsby special, I'd be like, the first 10 of the trans stuff was funny, the rest of it I don't know.
Dave Chappelle.
That would have been the only stuff I did like because I would have been like, that was brave.
That was brave at the end.
She went against her own community.
Yeah. Once you started talking about her wife being Chinese, I fell off. Stay with the trans stuff, lady.
But the craziest thing he's ever done is he gave they also put this on Netflix. He gave a speech at like the dedication of his school.
I think I heard.
And he says out,
didn't it win like a Grammy or something?
I don't even know, but like what are the comedy Grammys would be a whole brand new conversation to have because that doesn't make sense. They consistently nominate 6 specials that no one in the comedy world watched.
Yes, totally.
It's mind blowing.
Yeah,
but he just his whole premises was like, I told these kids like, you're lucky. Like, I am the greatest of all time. And you get to, like, witness greatness as it's happening. And I almost, like, did a spit take. I was like, but it was like there wasn't a punchline. Like,
that sucks.
He just says that. And, like, I do get, like, in most forms of art, that kind of helps you. Like, if you're in rap, that's sick. Even people will argue who's the greatest rock guitar. Like it's a... But if you're a stand-up, I think that thinking you're the greatest of all time is going to come hand in hand with a downgrade in your quality. Because
why are you talking like you're a wrestler?
You know? It's crazy. And like, how could you put in the criticism that it takes to make your stuff better if you're focused on gassing yourself up? At the end of the day, comedy is going on stage and like asking 300 people if you're right.
Yeah.
Like, you're like, I have something to say. Right?
Totally. But his thing now is he's almost surpassed it to where it is like, I think people look at him like a prophet, where it's like they're just there to hear him tell them how it is.
Yeah.
And that's why I think he can just be like, I'm the greatest. And they're like, you are the greatest.
It might
Thank you for making us lock our phones up. Can I go outside to text the babysitter? My kid has a peanut allergy. Thank you, greatest.
Are there comics that
do you think Plato ever did that in like ancient Greece? He was giving a lecture, but he's like, but don't fucking write any of this down because I might say crazy shit.
Dude,
don't fucking record this.
It's possible,
I'm
actually,
sure.
because I'm pretty sure, like, was Plato, Aristotle and Plato, who was the teacher, who was the student?
I just kind of said, that's how, I'm like so on the border of dumb and barely smart that I'll say something that's close but probably wrong.
Whichever one of them, let's just say Aristotle was the fucking
They were boys, right?
Teacher, and Plato was the student, and Plato wrote everything down. Whoever it was, they were the first, like...
Oh, I didn't know one was just the scribe.
One was, like, the student, but then I believe had some... I mean, we could totally be fucking this up.
Yeah.
Either
have
way.
That's why you gotta have an intern in the back.
Whoever the teacher
Google
was
that.
who hired the first guy to write shit down is the original clip guy.
He really
the
is.
Original.
I'm gonna say some sick shit. Caption this for me.
That was the Schultz of
different fonts,
philosophy.
Different font. What's the title? That's bad.
That's
Yeah.
trash, dude.
That's trash, bro.
But I guarantee
the self is who?
Yeah.
that's the clip.
I guarantee you there was at least one philosopher who, like, if he heard someone etching into a stone, he would freak the fuck out. He was probably, that's fucking witchcraft.
Yeah.
Bring me your son. I'm going to fuck him.
Writing his own shit down, he'd be like, fucking throw
What
him
was
out.
the whole, I know this comes up a lot, but what was the whole banging boys thing? They just, like, thought that was a vibe?
In Greece?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, they were banging.
They were just, but
In
like
Rome, I guess.
They were just
Yeah,
like,
Rome.
that's normal.
They thought I took a class in college about Roman like soldiers and like
Yeah.
the Trojan era. Is an extracurricular.
Yeah.
Public school, state
Hands-on.
school,
Yeah.
paid too much money
Had
for
to
that.
bang a boy.
Yeah, had to bang a boy. They thought it was like a fostering, like it was like a mentorship program, kind of like an older man would have like a young boy kind of under their wing, and like it was like very common that they would like have sex with them and like mentor them. And I forgot which way it was going. It's like someone receiving the other's seed was like seen as like helpful, of like it is like, you know, good for their soul or something.
This is why the Bible is anti-gay, because at some point people were like, enough.
Yeah.
like we gotta. I don't know how, but we
Yeah.
gotta stop doing
Peter and
that.
Paul were like, we just meant for the boys, but we just got to cut all of it out for right now.
And to a lot of the concept we've been having, you live long enough to become the villain.
Yes.
Because at the end of the day, they were
became their
mentoring
parents.
well.
They just became Fox News guys.
They became boy bangers.
They became boy bangers.
That is such a wild.
That was like their cold plunge, was like fucking a boy.
I've been feeling so good. I've been feeling so clear-minded.
Yeah.
You really don't want to do it, but after the first 3 seconds, you get really fired up, and I try to stay in for at least 20 minutes at a time.
It's all breath work, man.
Really gets my-
Wim Hof, I mean, probably would have had some crazy, like, you got to drink the piss of a child in
Right.
Rome. Like, he would have been a crazy guy back then.
Well, the crazy thing is, if like you grew up in an environment where that's what you did, and then you became a man, you'd be like, I guess I got to mentor this young boy.
And you would think all your accolades were because of that. They would be kind of your rabbit's foot of like, I know it's a new time and it's weird, but I'm the first soldier in the army because of this.
Right.
I drank so much
I
cum.
achieved my dreams, bro. Not every morning you want to wake up, you want to bang that booty. You got to.
Sometimes you got to have sex with an old guy if you want to.
Oh God, dude, that is so wild. I would like kill to like that. Sorry, I'm like my brain is.
No, buddy,
breaking.
say I got nothing else to add.
why I
Unfortunately,
wanna
we've
keep
brought ourselves to this point.
exploring this.
It's unfortunate we've got ourselves to this riff where we've both already said some things that we don't really love, but we have to somehow pull ourselves
Put
out
that.
of
I'll
this.
collab you on.
How do we
that.
make this a progressive take all of a sudden?
No, I don't. This is fine for this.
We think it's bad. We just want to end with that.
I don't think that is progressive.
I think it's progressive that we're saying, how dumb were they, huh?
Yes,
Idiots.
that's right.
Ancient Greece was dumb. I'm glad
Ancient
the volcano.
Greeks are dumb.
I'm glad the volcano killed all
You
of
got
them.
to separate the art from the artist.
You gotta.
You know, it's like sometimes I want to read Aristotle, sometimes I want to listen to Remix to Ignition.
That was their Michael Jackson, R. Kelly beef.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Aristotle's got some bars, dude. He's got some bars.
Oh, the
but,
other shit was so bad,
but
dude.
yeah.
But democracy
Shit was
is
bad. Yeah.
fuck. Voting.
I mean, but if we really want to stick to this concept, we shouldn't be able to vote.
Yeah. Guy on his way to vote. He votes quick at town hall. All right, I gotta go fuck this kid. God, I think God we live in a democracy. All right, I gotta go.
Yeah, I gotta go.
I gotta run. I mean, they're still kind of doing it. The politicians are still kind of doing that. We still have the same guys, you know.
Oh shit. Okay, well that was a great thing to discuss. I think we did a good job of it. There is something that we mentioned, I think before we started rolling, that Yeah, let's try it. I think now's a good time to try it.
I love it.
Let's play a game of horse.
I like that.
And so I'm going to reset this up. We'll play horse, and we'll be able to launch with a new topic.
I love that. Great. We're going to still be talking about pedophilia.
Did you guys have hoop mixtapes growing up? Like
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, like and one shit.
Yeah. Were there was kids like in our kind of conference and kind of around it that would...
Oh,
baby!
there we go.
We're playing
Flat-footed takeoff.
dunk. Yeah. I love that no matter how old guys get,
Yeah, it's so great.
It's the same shit. I almost slipped off
Incredible.
the takeoff.
Yeah, it's tough
Just
in
hit my
the it's
teeth
tough
on
in
the
the
floor.
socks. I got my
Yeah, you got
I got my
friction.
game worn mocks on,
Yeah,
dude.
that's fucking.
I'm gonna
PE.
sign one and send it home with you.
This guy's. We do a jersey swap. Yeah. Oh. What was your? Did you have a cool basement growing up? What was the?
I did have a cool basement.
Actually, you give
That's
me
an unbelievable pull.
You give me vibes that you'd have had a cool basement growing up.
That was a crazy.
Did
pull.
you have?
I loved my basement.
Did you have carpet with hockey sticks and a tennis ball?
Fuck you,
No
dude.
way! Yes!
Are you kidding me?
Yes, bro. I know who you are.
Oh
now.
my god.
I can link everything now. Now I get
That
it.
was crazy.
That rocks.
That is my entire life.
This brought up some like subliminal stuff. I didn't even know how to remember that kind of guy. Fuck.
Dude, we had a basement that had carpet. We had a net and hockey sticks, and we would had
sick.
goalie gear.
Yes.
So we would just one of us would be goalie, the other one would shoot, and it was just all I wanted to do was go in the basement and play. No one's done yet.
No one's ever
go
done.
on the chair, one hand, no look.
Look back at it. I don't know why it's so weird to have to bring this up right after that. Did you see the Drake video? Did you hear about that? Oh, do you ever have like, a stretch of weeks where things are going really good and you're like, man, I'm almost uncomfortable with
How
this.
well this is going.
Yeah, things feel like they're going good and I just got to check off some things that I've wanted to do for, like, you're almost like,
Well, you get into
what
like
could go wrong next?
what's next territory too.
Yeah, totally. Or like, what do I have to talk about now? Or like, whatever. I just feel kind of at peace.
Yeah, I think every time you put something out, it's almost like, oh, how do I follow that up? But that's, at the same time, that's like a relatively healthy life experience.
To have that feeling where you're
To
like,
try and be, like, I think I fluctuate between being like, wishing there would be some like checkpoint where it's like, okay, no more anxiety about anything.
yeah.
But really, life's all about progressing and like getting better and improving and challenging yourself.
Yeah, like you have like a thing and you're like, all right, after this thing I'm really stressed for, once this thing tapes or once this is over, I'll finally relax. And then you're like, there's just going to be another thing.
Yeah, of course. Because if that goes well, you get 1,000 more things. And so I just try to change how I'm thinking about it. But it's hard because I think it's...
How do you think about it?
Well, I mean, I just kind of this way where I'm like, that's not right. Because I think
Yeah.
it's a natural human emotion to be like afraid of the thing that's next. That's how our brains are wired, is to like fear the next stressful thing.
Totally.
But now it's not a lion eating you. It's like some misstep in your career.
It's 2 shows in Omaha.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. So I think that what I try to do is just, this is a thing a lot of people preach, but like focus on gratitude. And then the other thing that I'll think about is me now jealous of me is me a year ago jealous of me now?
Yeah.
And the answer is almost always yes. So usually I'm focused on people who have achieved a lot more in their career, and I'm like, how do I get there? Why am I not there? What do I need to do to get there? But if I step back and I look at like, if I was having a conversation with me 5 years ago, that guy would be like, dude, I'm pretty proud of you.
Totally.
I thought we'd be a little richer by now, but
but
like,
you're just like,
what you're doing right now, yeah, you would have killed the
I wouldn't even have fathomed. Yeah, totally. But it is weird that then you go, well, no, but I know what I put in, and I know that I should have got. It's weird to be like,
it's not luck. Yeah, gratitude is not like because I shouldn't have gotten it. It's just kind of like, hey, a lot of things are cool right now. You know? And focusing on that, because there are a lot of gifts, and especially when you compare to
people who don't have the opportunity to even do stuff they want.
I think I have this weird thing of growing up. Maybe it's like growing up with sports, though. Also, just being like, or growing up in a thing that wasn't where you put all your effort into something and it wasn't for you. Like you're just everything else didn't line up.
Right.
That you always, I kind of always have the anxiety of like it's all gonna come crumbling down.
Right.
I shouldn't have been here in the first place.
Yeah, that's a fear. I mean, every time I have like a big show, I'm like, I try to be like, man, this is so exciting, but then there will be inevitably one part of me that goes, what if you just fuck it up?
Yeah, what if you
and it
just
becomes the moment that like breaks your brain.
Totally.
And everyone's like, oh my God. And it's, so there's a few things. There's a great Mike Tyson clip where he talks about like his preparation for going into the ring. And I'll link it for people should watch it, but he's talking about like pulling his gloves apart and he's talking about walking to the ring and he's like I walk out there, he's like I'm scared, I'm afraid, I'm I all the anxiety, what if he's better than me, what if he does this, what if he does that, what if I can't counter, what if I fail, all this. He's like I get closer to the ring, I get a little more confident, He's like, what, I did the training, I put all the work in. He's like, I get into the ring, I'm a god. No one can touch me. And he talks about that, and that always helped because it's way less intense than fighting. But it's when you are behind the curtain, you're like, fuck, what if I screw up? What if I go out there? What if
they hate me? Whatever.
But then you get out there and you're like, I know how to do this.
The second the show starts, it's great.
Yeah, exactly.
The anticipation of always having to like wait for it that's what sucks.
Yeah.
My days, that's what the worst part is, like days on the road.
Oh God.
Just waiting to have to do the thing and you're like, God damn it.
I think at the end of the day, the one thing that always gets you out of the anxiety of all the nebulous shit is the doing of the thing. And it's like, if you focus on just, can I write the best joke that I've written today? Can this be the best show? Can I just focus on the actual art that I'm doing? All the anxiety about like career shit and what does it mean about you is all ego, and it's disconnected from the fucking thing that you're actually supposed to be focused on.
Totally.
Bank.
It's
gonna be so funny for people who don't watch the podcast. Going on some rant about anxiety. Bank, left hand.
Yeah. It's about feeling good as who you are in your own skin.
Not
Backwards, flip.
Did that go?
That went.
Nice.
That was in. What are we? I think I'm a horror sub.
You're a whore. Or maybe.
Oh!
I think you're a whores now.
I got a whores. Yeah, I got an S. And you're what?
I'm a whore.
You're a whore.
We're gonna go.
Oh baby.
Top of the chair.
How's that? That'll be something.
And I do think it's like it's interesting to discuss and think about, but there is a little bit of there's an overthink too.
Totally.
Where it's like, fucking whatever. We tell jokes. Calm down.
Yeah.
It's just,
that's it.
That's it.
Yeah,
it's literally it. You're a clown. Go, do your best. It'll be okay.
A little bit.
Yeah.
Go shake your ass for mommy. Come on. At the end of the day, it really is just go shake your ass for mommy.
Yeah. And you love it, and it's nice, and you don't get
regular hand.
Regular, yeah.
Oh my God!
There it is. Emil, thank you. Thank you for doing this.
That was so fun.
You've lost the first game of horse.
I'm honored. Thanks, folks.
One of the things we talked a lot about was politics. Not a super political show, but I think we're in an interesting moment. I think it's going to be an interesting few months. We're leading up to an election, and boy, is it an exciting one. Trump versus Biden. Battle of the heavyweights. Not that exciting, but it's an interesting moment for comedy in politics. At least that's how I feel. I feel like Jon Stewart coming back to The Daily Show has kind of infused a little life into that popular comedic political institution. And of course, the work like John Oliver's always doing. There's a lot going on right now. It was even fascinating Shane Gillis hosting SNL and getting to read the comment threads of that and what people thought about the politics of him coming back after obviously getting fired. It's been an interesting time in the space, and I don't think that's going to change. And as much as people are infusing comedy with politics, we're sure getting a lot of comedy infused in our politics. Not just because both of our leading luminaries and bright lights that are campaigning to run the country are very old, very ridiculous men who routinely do strange things. Our entire country does very odd things. Most recently, the Alabama Supreme Court ruling that frozen embryos are people. I realize that's not funny in the sense that it impacts people's lives greatly, especially people in the state of Alabama who are having their own fertility problems and using IVF as their one chance to have a family, which they would realize that's not funny. But the story itself is a little ridiculous when you zoom out. The sentence itself, state court rules frozen embryos are people, feels like it demonstrates that it's not true in the sentence. It's a very odd, we have a real problem figuring out what people are in the country, I feel like. I don't think that a business is a person, and I also don't think that a frozen embryo is a person. I'm worried about the ramifications of it. If the potential for life counts as life, dog, I'm a murderer. I might need to get a lot of teardrop tattoos because I'm Genghis Khan in this bitch. I've been embedding mass graves into my tube socks for a long time. The potential for life can't be life. If you can spit it out, it's probably not a person. I'm not a judge. Okay? I am not an Alabama State Supreme Court judge. And I'm not going to do the thing. There's plenty of political shows that can do the classic left-leaning comedian thing where they're like, Alabama's so extreme, they don't even allow for abortion in cases of incest, which of course makes sense considering they all bang each other's sisters. I don't think that's productive. I don't think it's helpful. But it is important to note that you're being so crazy that Mike Pence was like, I'm not on this side of the pro-life argument. That should say something. Trump and Pence don't want it. Obviously, most people don't, but like if those guys are like, hey, this is crazy. I thought the right would want more families. More, you would think, if you were the right, you would want more Alabama families. Generally. That would just be my thought. I just don't understand who it's for. I think that's the problem with most of the stuff that there's so many things that happen in our politics. I'm just like, who is that for? I don't get it. I talk to a lot of people. I consume a lot of perspectives. I don't really know anyone who's like, nah, man, that one makes sense to me. Who's that for? It's like the person who brings ambrosia to the party. It's like, it's a potluck. Why did you bring? No one wants that. What's that, like tangerines covered in like whipped cream and nuts? Healthy people aren't going to like it because there's whipped cream in there, and unhealthy people aren't going to like it because there's fruit. No one wants that. It's so strange. There's so much of this happening now. I can't tell if I'm the crazy person, but when I talk to most people, you know, I'm like anyone else. Like I don't usually want to talk about politics, but then you get a few drinks in you, and then it's like, oh yeah, what do you think about all that? Normal guy, like that's the normal thing to do at a party. Let's really figure this out. And then you both make like stupid points, but you dap each other up at the end, and you're like, bro, if only the country thought more like you did. If only the country thought more like you did, I think we'd be in a good spot. Everyone's just crazy. I do that in Ubers too. You ever find common ground with an Uber driver, and you're just like, yeah, man, world's crazy. You understand. Me and the Uber guy, we know what's up. Only for us. I can't tell if that's an oversimplification or if it's a good point. But it's very rare that I'm out in public and I'm talking to someone and they're like, I am incredibly in favor of the frozen embryos are people debate because I don't want people who want to have kids to be able to have them. That doesn't make sense. There's a lot of this. I saw like Tucker Carlson went to Russia and interviewed Putin, and like, yeah, you should be able to interview dictators and stuff. But then he like went around glazing Russia and was like, they have a train station that's more beautiful than any train station in our country. Makes you wonder. I don't know if that's a good impression or not. Makes you wonder what the elites are hiding from you. It doesn't smell like pee. doesn't smell like poop. I love the cadence of guys who they just have talked so much for a living that they just say one thing and they cadence it out enough so it sounds profound. I'm breathing air. What would you do? In through the nose, out through the mouth. But that's not what Joe Biden wants you to do. If he had it his way, you'd be breathing through your anus and probably allowing people to stick stuff up it too. Chopping your genitals off is only the beginning. But I'm just here to breathe. If the air is still breathable. Yeah, so that could be the last impression I ever do on the show. I have no idea. But the point is, who was that for? I do enjoy watching political content and people's reactions to it. I'm watching him get roasted by like Jon Stewart and Ben Shapiro and like Hassan. Like if all three of those people agree that you did something stupid, who's it for? There's so much stuff going on in this country that I don't understand who it's for. Because when I talk to people, we tend to agree. And bro, if everyone was just like us, dog. If everyone was just like us, we'd really get along, dude. We're the real people, not frozen embryos. Let people have kids if they want to. My God. Just don't let them bring them on planes. Okay, there it is. That's the interview with Emil Wakim. If you like that, make sure you check him out on all social platforms. Really funny guy. Give him some support. Also, I'm on tour, baby. JoeyAvery.com/live. Please get some tickets to some shows. Come see me in person. And of course, give this bad boy a like. Give it a comment. If you're listening audio only, give me a review, a little 5-star rating. You know, podcasting is probably the stupidest space to join in 2024, but it's something that I'm enjoying doing, and I hope you guys are enjoying it, and I hope we'll get you back week over week. Other than that, I hope you have a lovely day. Make sure to follow me on YouTube. That's Joey Avery, and then the show at Joey Show Podcast. At some point, we'll be switching over to that. But until then, we'll see you next time.